Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast, where we talk about manifestation, money, and practical guidance to creating your dream reality. My name is Amy Van Meel, and I am an experienced coach and transformation guide, obsessed with helping you get out of your own way and create a life that blows your mind each day you wake up. My goal in this podcast is to share practical manifestation, self-awareness, and growth techniques in real talk conversations. So if you're ready to massively transform your reality, your finances, your relationships, and your overall enjoyment of life, you are in the right place. I am absolutely delighted that you're here with me today, babe. Let's get into it. Well, hello, babe. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm super excited that you're here with me today. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Calgary. It's a bit windy. Wind is my least favorite weather pattern, but here we are. Everything is green from weeks of rain. It's growing like crazy. I'm excited to be here with you today. Today is a kickoff to 4 very juicy, what I'm intending to be like high vibe episodes for you. We're going to be diving into investing. Now, before your eyes glaze over and you're like, I don't want to fucking hear about this, and you go find someone else to listen to, let me just front this whole series by saying that my intent is to make this tangible and listenable. I don't know if that's a word, but instead of being like financial terminology heavy, instead of making it feel really unapproachable and like just kind of losing you on the way, my intent is to make sure that I'm sharing in real talk language and not stuffy finance bro language. And I'll share some of my own journey and some of my own understandings of things as well to help just make it more clear for you. I know that like investing is a topic that was a hot button topic for me for sure for a lot of years. When I look back over my life, it kind of surprises me that it took me so long to realize this, but I have actually always been fascinated by money, and I have always been learning about money. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I thought I was just like, okay, I should be a responsible adult and go learn things. So in my 20s, I was learning about money, and I was like reading books and listening to, I don't know if podcasts were a thing back then. Oh my God, that makes me sound so old. Anyway, whatever it was that people were sharing, whatever mediums they were sharing on, I remember hearing different finance folks really like talking about the importance of starting investing early. It was always paired with a lesson on compounding interest. And I mean, really always left me feeling completely ashamed and guilty and behind and just so low. Like this is a time of my life where I had no extra pennies for anything, never mind extra dollars for anything. There was a period of my life while I was in university where I was so financially strapped, I could not afford to buy milk. I could not afford to go out and buy any groceries. I had to just kind of eat whatever was left in my cupboards for the next week and a half until my next paycheck came in. I was in a fairly costly undergrad degree, and I was paying for most of it myself. I was living on my own. Like there was no extras. So then to be listening to these financial experts and gurus and whatever is telling me that like, hey, by the way, you're also supposed to be investing from as soon as you can. And I started when I was 18 and now I'm 35 and I'm a multimillionaire. And I'm like, great. I don't know how to do that when I don't have any money, right? So I share that to say that nothing in these next 4 episodes is going to be along that lines. I am not ever going to tell you that you are behind, that you should have started 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 years ago. We may touch on some of the idea of compound interest, which, oh my gosh, I think I might add that into the 4th episode. The 4th episode isn't written just yet. And I had a conversation with my husband about this a few weeks ago, and I was like, okay, you need to explain this to me. So I might touch on that a little bit. But what I will My whole intent in these 4 episodes is to make investing less scary, much more approachable, and to really encourage you and do my very best in the context of this podcast, my space with you here in your ears, to help you understand that you can actually do this on your own. You don't need to hire somebody. You don't need to like give away your money. It's not 100 million different complicated decisions. We're going to break down a lot of the basics for you so that it's really approachable and tangible. And again, my intent here is just to make sure that I'm doing my best to build your confidence so you can get into it. All right. So today's episode is going to be all about laying some of the foundational stuff for us. Each episode is going to build on the ones before. So do make sure that if like at some point you miss an episode, you probably want to go back and listen to the one before that. Otherwise, some of the stuff we're talking about in the following episodes won't make as much sense. If you have some investing experience or knowledge already, these episodes may seem overly simplified, and that's actually kind of the point, because so much of what we see, hear, and read related to investing is so complex that it actually becomes unattainable. I don't want that for you. I'm all about empowering you to live your best and fullest life. And part of that means building wealth, and investing is a great way to do that. There's a reason that so many successful folks talk about investing as part of their financial freedom plan, right? Now, to that end, and a little quick note on the information on, let me restate that, on who the information is for that I'm going to be sharing in the next few episodes. So I'm sharing this for anyone and everyone who is keen to learn more about investing, who wants to begin or continue to grow their wealth, and who wants to understand investing a bit deeper. If you are someone who wants to learn about day trading, who wants to learn about options, who wants to learn about like the deep intricacies of investing, I am not your girl. This is not your podcast. That's not what we're here for. All right. So I'm super excited if you're listening to me today. If you've never invested a dime and you don't really understand the stock market, whether you're young, single, old, whatever, but you're financially curious, you are my kind of people. Now, I promise not to hit you. I'm going to just say this again. With any of that, you should have started 20 years ago bullshit, or tell you that you have to start right now with $100 a month. Okay. I also want to note that I do cover this more deeply in my money transformation program, Building Fempires, which also covers a host of other financial tools such as credit cards, loans, credit scores, and the science of how your brain works, how your beliefs are created, how to both identify and release limiting beliefs standing in the way of your financial freedom, how to become your most unfuckwithable financial self. It's a really juicy, juicy program. If you're interested to completely change the game on your financial reality, I highly suggest that you get on the wait list so that you know when the next enrollment period opens up. And to do that, you can check out the show notes for the link or just go to amyvanmeel.com/money waitlist. Now, before I dive into anything else, because investing is a very big, weighty topic, I need to kick us off with some disclaimers, and you will hear this at the beginning of every single one of these episodes because I want to be ultra, ultra clear. I am not a financial professional. I am not giving any kind of financial advice, investment advice, or any other form of advice as it relates to finances and or investing. All the information that is provided in this podcast is intended to expand your knowledge with the understanding that you are 100% responsible for all of your financial and investment decisions and actions. We will be talking about investments in the context of the stock market in really broad strokes. My intent for you in these podcast episodes is to make investing and the stock market more approachable and to help you build your foundational confidence so that you can start to leverage tools and opportunities available to you. While I may share what I use or have invested in, it is in no way an endorsement. If you continue listening to this episode, it is with the understanding that you agree to what I've just stated and will not in any way hold myself, my company, or anything or anyone else liable for your decisions, actions, or lack thereof. Okay. Now, with that in mind, let's dive in. Straight into the most basic of it all. What the heck do I mean when I say investing? So the short version is the basic action of moving money into a financial asset to build your wealth. All right. So if we simplify that further, I'm talking about investing as buying shares, stocks, or funds on the stock market or through a financial trading platform. Now, there are tons of different ways to invest, not just through the stock market, but through things like bonds, direct investing in companies, angel investing, and so much more. We are not covering all of those things. We are just talking about investing through the stock market. We're going to keep it soups simple. So, what is the stock market actually? So, the stock market is actually just a collection of companies that are publicly traded and are available for you to purchase a share of the company. Now, you already know that not every company is publicly traded, and companies have all kinds of reasons to go public or to stay private. Now, to make that tangible, to really kind of bring it home into something that like you probably hear about all the time, Elon Musk is a dude most of us are familiar with. He has two really well-known companies, Tesla and SpaceX. Tesla is publicly traded, SpaceX is not. Both are hugely successful companies. Now, it doesn't matter for our context here why a company is publicly traded. Just know that if it is, you can purchase a piece of that company through the stock market. Now, let me explain that a bit further because honestly, when I was first learning about investing, I was confused as fuck about people saying that I could own a company. I kept hearing all these investment people say, well, then you own Coca-Cola. Well, then you own Apple. I'm like, I don't understand that. I don't have enough money to buy Apple. Now, we're going to explain it with the example of cake. So if you're hungry, I'm sorry, but I think cake is going to help this really come together for us. So if you think about a company as a cake, when the company is private, it's one cake, no sharesies, right? It's just like the owner with their fork, nobody else gets any. But once it becomes public, that cake gets divided up into a whole bunch of pieces and people can buy those pieces. So they now own a piece of that cake. They can keep it for as long as they want. And ideally, if they paid, say, $10 for that piece of cake today, maybe in 10, 20, or 30 years, that piece becomes worth $100 or $1,000. If they decide that they don't want to own that piece of cake anymore, they can sell it through the stock market and someone else buys it. And now it's their piece of cake. They own that slice. So that slice of cake, that piece is called a share. And the person who owns that piece is called a shareholder, aka a person who holds the share. I mean, it's dead simple, right? Now, for reasons I don't really know and don't really care to look up, it's often also referred to as a stock. So to keep things straight, just know that stocks and shares are generally used interchangeably when talking about investing. It's just a note to be aware of some of the terminology. Now, let me restart that. So we know now what it means to own a share. The next question is likely, how do I own a share? Or where do I own a share? As in, where do I actually go to buy that slice of cake? Now, this will vary from country to country, but most places will have something called a trading platform. In the Building Fempires program, I explain this by thinking of a trading platform as a hotel key. You can go to a hotel, you can look at the building, you can see pictures online of the rooms, you can visit the public spaces, but to actually go into the room, you need the right key. So you can see the stock market anywhere and everywhere. The information about the stock market is readily available. But in order to actually purchase a share or a stock, you need to have access to the market. You need a key. The trading platform is that access key. Now, there's lots of different options for trading platforms. For example, in Canada, we have ones like Questrade, Wealthsimple, TD Bank, RBC Bank, and I'm sure lots more. In the US, there are ones you've likely heard of like Robinhood or Charles Schwab, Fidelity, and more. There are going to be different trading platforms in each country. And that's because every country has their own financial rules and regulations. Now, most people that I've talked with often start to become the spiral eye emoji at this point because there's so many options and it feels impossible to choose. So if you're already going, oh my God, Amy, I don't know which one of these I'm supposed to be going on. Some people say that this is better. Some people say the other one is better. Don't worry. We're going to be talking about this further in the next few episodes. So don't despair. For now, I just want you to understand the basic language and put together that, for example, Questrade is an investment trading platform, aka where you would go to buy or sell shares on the stock market. Now, the last piece of the basic investment puzzle is called your portfolio. The easiest way that I can think of a portfolio is that it's like the filing cabinet that has all of your shares in it. Your portfolio literally just means all the things you're invested in. If you've ever heard anything at all about investing, I'm sure you've heard people talk about how important it is to have a diversified portfolio. So what the fuck is a diversified portfolio? All right, to make this super simple, let's say that you've decided to buy a Tesla share, or 10, doesn't matter. You only own Tesla, nothing else. That's the only stock that you have. That means that your entire investment portfolio is one stock. It's just Tesla. If something goes sideways with Tesla, all the money that you've invested is potentially at risk. It's not guaranteed at risk, it's potentially at risk. So the goal is to have a varied collection of shares in your investments so that you are reducing your financial risk. It's like a fancy financial version of don't have all your eggs in one basket, because what if you sit on the basket and break all your eggs? Okay, I made the last part up, but I am giggling thinking about you with egg all over your butt. Now, I want to capital letters communicate this to you. All right, I want you to really, really hear this next sentence. When you are getting started, it is much more important to just start than it is to worry about how to diversify. I'm going to say that one more time. I just want you to really hear this. When you are getting started, it is so much more important to simply start than it is to worry about how to diversify. I spent years trying to figure out how I was supposed to start and diversify and pick the right stock and make sure that I'm all set up for retirement and be able to weather the ups and downs of the market and. So I did nothing. Nothing. I was so overwhelmed with all of the things and all of the tips and all of the stuff that I was supposed to be doing that I did nothing. I finally got fed up with trying to figure it all out. I said, fuck it, which by the way is two of my favorite words in the English language. And I just got started. If you've been waiting and trying to figure it out, please move to the fuck it stage soon and just get started. You can't do it wrong. You'll learn, you'll gain so much confidence just by investing your first few dollars. Give yourself space to learn. So perhaps you've been saving up like $5, $10, $15, $20,000. Start small. Just get started, right? Your money sitting in a savings account isn't actually generating money, all right? But investing in the stock market has the ability to generate money. And if you're nervous, if you're not sure where or how to start with like $500. Start with like $100. Start with $10. Like just start small. It doesn't matter how much you're starting with. The point is to get started, all right? Now, we're going to finish off this particular episode with one more basic, which is talking about a trade. What the fuck is a trade? So, think about it this way. At first, when a company very first goes public, what is called an initial public offering or IPO, people buy shares for the very first time. After that, those shares are traded, kind of like hockey cards, through buying and selling. Now, the more that I've learned about investing and just kind of the financial world in general, I feel like it helps if you think about the entire stock market and all of its jargon as being built by 7-year-old boys. Because, I mean, it kind of was. So, a trade, right? We're trading hockey cards. A trade is just the act of one person buying someone else's shares. The share is trading ownership, it's moving from me to you. In the case of the stock market, and for everyday investors like you and I, the only way to do that is by exchanging money. So if you want to share that I have, two things need to happen. One, I have to want to sell what I've got. And two, you have to want to buy with cash money what I've got. So shares are literally being bought and sold every day that the market is open. And yes, even though it's all pretty much digital right now, it has business hours. This buying and selling is done through an action called a buy order or a sell order. Your trading platform will have a way for you to input a command like, hey, Market Bros, I would like to buy 20 shares of Pepsi for $20 a share. You put in your buy order. When the share price aligns with what you've said you want to buy it for, your command gets executed and now you own 20 shares. When you're selling, it looks like, hey, Market Bros, I want to sell 20 shares of Pepsi for $25 a share. You put in your sell order. When the share price aligns with that price, your command is executed, and now you've sold those shares and you have cash money in your account. Now, there's probably a billion questions in your head right now, which is really, really awesome. It means that your brain is taking in this information and it's starting to fire new neural networks around the knowledge you're gaining, which, yay, right? It's really, really amazing. So here's what I want you to do this week, because we covered a lot, but it's really just the basic things. I want you to start super simple. Head on over to Yahoo Finance. For my fellow Canucks, there is a yahoofinance.ca version. My husband introduced me to Yahoo Finance as an easy and approachable way to start to familiarize myself with the stock market. So when you get to Yahoo Finance, you'll see at the top there's a search bar. Type names of companies that you know in the search bar. Things like Apple or Pepsi or Tesla or, I don't know, Shopify. Like, pick whatever ones that you know of and just type them in the search bar. You'll get search results that show up in short form in 4 letters. And those 4 letters are it's called the stock ticker symbol, aka the stock market code. You need to know that ticker symbol, that code, when you're buying and selling stocks. So for example, when you search for Tesla, I believe the code is TSLA. If you search for Shopify, it's SHOP. If you search for Apple, it's AAPL. Doesn't matter. But have a look for different companies. Just start to familiarize yourself with some of what you're seeing. All right? Play around with it. Yahoo Finance also has articles and stuff. I am not a big fan of reading the news. Do with that what you will. But you'll start to see charts and graphs and different things come up. Now, here is my last disclaimer before we finish off today. Do not expect to understand it all, and do not succumb to overwhelm. I know that it is really easy to go and look at Yahoo Finance or Google or whatever and just be in tears or breathing into a paper bag Sheldon style because you're inundated with too much information. Your goal this week, all that you're doing is building familiarity. So play, peruse, check out a couple of articles, whatever. Spend like 10, 20, 30 minutes on it this week, and then give yourself a massive pat on the back because you're already acting as an investor. Investors go and look at the markets. They go check out what's happening. They search different companies. Literally, by you just exposing yourself a little bit to the market and building that familiarity, you are already acting as an investor, which is pretty fucking cool. All right, my loves, that is the end of this particular investment category. Let me know how you love this episode. Please don't forget to take a moment to rate my podcast, as it helps me so much to reach more people. If you actually fill out a review, not just click the stars, but actually words, it also lets me know what's resonating with you. Your reviews help motivate me so much to create more episodes, and I really, really love hearing from you. I so appreciate you for listening and for leaving your review. Also, be sure to share this episode with a friend if it resonated with you. There's that whole sharing is caring, but oh my goodness, I love having conversations about money and wealth and finances and investments with friends. And I've been opening up those conversations more and more in my life. So if there's somebody else that's kind of curious about it, send this episode on through to them. Now, a very cool thing that I've just opened up, I think I just shared it on last week's podcast episode, was the first time, is that I now have a submission form that you can send questions into the podcast. So if you have questions that you want me to answer, and it could be related to investing, it could be related to money, it could be related to just about anything, really, go ahead and submit your questions to amyvanmeel.com/podcast questions. Of course, the URL is in the show notes. You will find on the submission form, there's 3 spots to enter your questions. If you have more than 3 questions, you can submit the form again. And if you have less than 3 questions, that's also totally cool. You're not required to have a certain number. I just want to let you know there is some space for you to share your questions. And finally, I touched on this a little bit briefly, but if you want a guided pathway to shifting your beliefs and transforming your relationship with money from top to bottom, so that you can finally experience what you desire most in life: financial freedom, time freedom, feeling empowered, knowledgeable with money, understanding money, both in general and in your life, build your own net worth and financial empire to support yourself, your loved ones, all your dreams and desires. And hello, can we just talk about feeling confident AF when it comes to finances? Then I encourage you to sign up for the Building Fempires waitlist. So I have enrollment periods that open up periodically throughout the year. The next time the program opens for enrollment, you'll want to be on the wait list to make sure that you know the second that it's ready. So go to amyvanmeel.com/money waitlist, and you'll be able to sign up and get yourself on the list for that. Next week, we're going to be going a bit deeper into different kinds of shares and investing. We're going to be talking about ETFs. I have EFTs. We're going to touch on that. Yes, we're going to be talking about that. We're talking about REITs. We're going to talk about index funds. When you see those things in your research this week, just make note, because we're going to expand on them next week. All right, my love, I trust that this episode has been great and that it's opened up some insights, and if nothing else, at least started to fire up some of those neural pathways for you to build your investment knowledge and become a powerful finance, wealth building powerhouse. With that, my love, have an amazing week, and I will see you next week on the podcast. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform, and help me reach more like-minded people who are ready to expand their life. If you haven't yet followed me on social media, find me on Instagram for extra love and inspiration by following @AmyVanMeel, or visit my website at amyvanmeel.com. I love you so much, babe, and I am damn proud of you. I am already excited to connect in the next episode. And in the meantime, believe in yourself with the confidence of a 5-year-old.